In today's video, we're going to look at how to configure instant feedback in Speakable and how the feedback types work. So let's dive in first by looking at the two categories of feedback that we have here in the Speakable system. So there's one category which we can call grading feedback. So this is the feedback that's based on the prompt or the rubric that you put into your auto grading tab. And there's another category, we'll call it additional feedback, which allows you to do things like providing students with a proficiency level estimate, grammar insights, etc. Now, to get started, we're going to look at the core foundation here, which is the grading feedback. And we're going to look at first how the pass-fail auto grading feedback works. So in this activity, I have all of the additional feedback types, which you'll find here, turned off. And I have in my auto grading a prompt here. And this prompt is what's going to determine the feedback summary that I get. So I'm going to go ahead and record a response to this, and then we'll take a look at the feedback that the students are going to get in 1 minute. So here you can see I've gotten some feedback from our good friend Chatty here. He's letting me know to try again. I didn't meet the standards of that grading prompt. And based on that prompt, I'm getting this feedback that we see here. So this is the feedback summary. And what's going to be shared in this feedback summary is largely determined by your grading prompt, which you'll find here. And if we were to make changes to this, it would change how that functions. So if I were to say, let's get rid of this grammar errors piece here, or if we just said student's response answers the prompt, it'd be much easier. And actually my response there would have allowed me to pass. And I would have had a little gentler feedback in that scenario. Now, when we're using a rubric in our auto grading, so here I have my standard world language rubric with these 3 categories. We're going to get feedback that is detailed for that rubric. So I'm going to go ahead and pause here again, record a response, and then we'll look at the feedback for the rubric. Okay, and here we have the rubric results. So we're seeing here that we do still have this feedback summary, just like the pass-fail auto grading, but now we're getting feedback on specific areas of our rubric, and it's providing this to me in my native language, and we'll go into those settings a little later. So it's giving me a score and providing the information here. So this is your core feedback based on your grading prompts. Now, when we want to start adding in additional feedback, we'll have 3 types of additional feedback that we can add in and provide our students with. The first is proficiency level estimates based on WIDA or ACTFL. The second is grammar insights in that transcript that we're seeing. And the third is a suggested response. So here in my activity again, I've added in grammar insights. So I've enabled this toggle here. And this time when I record a response to this, we're just going to use the pass-fail auto grading. It's going to give me grammar insights on my transcript. So I'll go ahead and record a response to that, and then we'll take a look at it. Okay, so here is our feedback with the grammar insights enabled. You can see here that I made 2 grammar errors. I should have made this plural, and I conjugated this incorrectly. So it's going to point those out to me and then give me some reasoning behind that when the grammar insights are enabled. Now let's take a look at the suggested response. So in this case, when you want your students to kind of get an idea of what a good response would look like, we can enable this setting. So I've turned this on here in our feedback again there. And I'm going to go ahead and record a response, and then we'll look at what the suggested response looks like. So now here we're seeing the feedback summary, the transcript, and then our suggested responses here at the bottom. We can open this up and we'll see what Chatty is suggesting for a better response. Students can also listen to these. So if they use the the sound button here, it will say each of the words here and highlight them as it moves through them. So that's the suggested response and what it looks like when it's turned on. Now, finally, we'll take a look at the proficiency level estimates. Speakable is compatible with the ACTFL proficiency levels and the WIDA proficiency levels. The system will automatically identify based on the setting here that your activity is in. So I have the target language is Spanish, so it's going to use ACTFL. If your target language is English, it will use the WIDA proficiency level estimates, and we can enable that again here in our feedback settings. So let's go ahead and record a response, and then we'll look at my ACTFL proficiency level. Okay, now here we can see at the top of our feedback summary, we have the ACTFL estimate. It's giving me a novice high here. And it's starting out by giving me reasoning behind this. It's starting out by telling me, hey, here's some things that you did well. However, we're lacking in complexity, varied grammatical structures, and connected discourse that would be expected in the higher levels here. So I can look at this and get an idea of why I scored in the novice high category here. And that's the ACTFL proficiency or WIDA proficiency level estimates. Again, these are estimations, and they are also just for this one single response. So this isn't giving a student their overall, proficiency level estimation. It's just for that one single response. And it's very helpful in preparing students for the access exam or for the seal of bioliteracy or something similar, where students can get a feel for where some of their responses will be landing before they go into those exams, and they'll have the ability to work on those responses to improve their levels. Now, the final thing that we'll cover here is the feedback language settings. So you do have the option to configure what language the students are going to be getting this feedback in. And why this is an important consideration is students that are at a lower level, we've got to kind of consider what's going to be comprehensible input for them. So as you're kind of seeing with this feedback, you're getting a feedback summary, you're getting descriptions of things. If you're a level 1 or a level 2 learner, that's probably not going to be comprehensible to you. So we might want to leave that in the student's native language. So the way that we determine what language the feedback is going to come in is here in our feedback language setting. So you have two options. You'll have the native language, or you'll have the target language, which will be displayed here as just the name of the language itself. The native language setting is actually going to use the student's language that they've indicated on their Speakable profile to determine what language is going to give the feedback in. So if you're teaching English as a new language and you have students that speak French, Spanish, German, etc., it's going to say, okay, this student's native language is German. Let's show them the feedback in German here. So that's how the native language setting works here. And let's go ahead and just take a look at this response here really quick. So at this point, we've seen the feedback summary quite a few times. And this is an area where I'm seeing this in English because English is my native language here, as well as, my grammar insights markups are, being provided to me in English here. So let's go back and let's take a look at what this looks like when we put this into the native language, or target language. So here we have the feedback language set to Spanish. We'll go ahead and again record a response, and then we'll come back and look at it. And here it is. Now we're seeing our feedback summary in Spanish, which is the target language of this activity. And we're also seeing other items in here in Spanish. So my justifications for my grammar insights here are in Spanish as well. And that's all. That's the full walkthrough of the different types of instant feedback and how to configure them on Speakable. If you still have questions or you're running into problems when you're setting up your instant feedback, please feel welcome to contact us. You can get in touch with us through the chat here inside of the app. Of course, we usually try to respond as quickly as we can there. And you can also email us at support@speakable.io.